back again for another week. Episode number 9. We did attempt to record the other day and we had some technical difficulties, so we'll see what happens today.
That's looking
What
good.
do you got?
Yeah, my week again. It was all the physical challenges. They're easy to put in a box, and we know what they all are. You know, you can exercises, this, running on the track, nutrition, this, that, and the other. The hardest thing to put in a box to get your hand around is as we spoke about earlier, is changing, the way you see a problem or a challenge, and then that challenge changes for you. So it's having the wherewithal or the awareness that you can look at something in a different way, and then it presents itself with different solutions. And that's hard to do. You have to have some level of self-awareness and to be able to do that. Otherwise, as I said, if your only tool in the toolbox is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. Everything.
For sure.
And it doesn't translate. It's just, and then I often find, which I find regularly, in life, I don't care what it is in life, people repeating the same things over and over again. I know they say that's a definition of madness, but I don't think it's too common for people to be that stupid.
Yeah.
And these are smart people doing it. That's the other issue.
But is that the old mirror trick, right? Sometimes you just need to hold the mirror up to yourself. And I think all too often we're scared to do that. We just, we won't put that mirror up and have a really good hard look at what we're trying to achieve. And we just, as you said before, we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We don't get the result we want. We get more frustrated. And that's a very big challenge for a majority of people out there.
Well, I had a guy with a straight face look at me, and this is a guy who's in a decision-making position that affects a lot of people's lives. And he had one metric to hit, which was we're going to put on an athletics demonstration day, and we want to increase our numbers. And he got exactly 0. Now, you can't get worse than that unless you maybe have some turn up and leave, and you can do a minus something. But after that event, he actually came out and said, we did this last year. This year, I think we should expand it. So do it all again, but make it bigger.
Bigger than 0?
Yeah. And I looked at him as if to say, you must be joking. I said, and the worst thing is, it's hard enough, when you succeed at something and you don't know why. Therefore, you're just guessing. It's hard to replicate. It's exactly the same when you get it wrong and you still don't know why.
Yeah.
When you get it wrong and you don't know why, you're very, very likely to repeat it. And he has no idea why people would come along, try something, and then go, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
There's not a clue, because he's pitching to the general public that athletics is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. It's fun till you come down and have to run 200 meters and get beaten by 100.
Yeah.
That's not fun. And,
No.
and then you're aching all over, and it's just, there's nothing amusing about that. Then you turn up to a track training group that tell you, yeah, it's really hard and it might take you about 3 years. And they just shake their head and go, well, why would I do that? Tell me how much fun that is.
Who's he pitching the model to?
Everyone. That's
Everyone,
the problem.
yeah.
It's like, it's like trying to hunt a polar bear in Antarctica. They're not down there. They're in the North Pole.
Yeah.
There's only penguins in Antarctica. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you were down there wandering around the Antarctica with a gun looking for a polar bear, you're not going to find one. It looks like the right environment. It looks right, but they ain't there.
I'm glad you've given me that tidbit, because I would have actually, if I'm ever stuck down there, I probably would have looked for polar bears.
Yeah, they're not there.
Good to know.
There's none in the south. So you could be eaten down there by a leopard seal.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get eaten by a polar bear.
Nice. Good to know.
The thing is, like I always say, if you're after certain things and if you're after a certain demographic, you have to at least go to where they are. So there's no such thing as a deep sea mullet. They're just everywhere in the lakes, in the shallow lakes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If you want to catch one of them, go there. If you want to catch a marlin, go out to sea. But you have to. He doesn't understand where that tribe is. He's
yeah,
confused and thinks that anybody can do it. You know, anyone can do this sport, and it's a heap of fun. Like
yeah.
that's the message.
And that's that's a bit of a marketing problem, isn't it? When I've read a lot of marketing stuff recently, particularly about that guy Russell Brunson, I think his name with ClickFunnels,
Mm.
and that software, and he talks about your buyer persona and working out what that buyer persona is, and people are only motivated by three things, and then literally, as you just said before, going to where those buyers are potentially going to be, and in this situation, finding where that tribe is likely to hang out.
Mm.
And it sounds like you need to, and it's not something I've ever given any thought to. We never tried to attract people to our
No.
squad. And if anything, we tried to push them away, right? We didn't want additional people there unless they could really run, and they wouldn't last. But yeah, that's an interesting sort of problem to solve. Where do you find those people? And I suppose it's other athletic-minded people that have actually done some sort of sporting event in their past and know what it takes to actually perform and compete, and don't mind that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, and as you know, I mean, you don't. They're normally people that have done track at high school and they're still interested in it, and they actually think they enjoy the sport. They're the type of people that you're really looking for, because you just, if you're 45 years old, you just don't wake up in the morning and go, "Wow, I didn't know I could run 11.5 for 100."
No,
That that's not reality. It's
no,
just that those people aren't out there. So anyway, but it's that age old thing. It's that setting an expectation, but then completely missing it. I mean, or misrepresenting it. It's like if you had one of your mates and you said, "Mate, I just saw this movie the other day. It's on at the cinema." Mate, it's literally the best movie I ever saw. You've got to come and see it. I'd watch it 100 times. It's that good. And then he tells you it's Jaws 4. And you just look at him like, what are you talking about? That
yeah,
is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Jaws 4, it's so bad. That film is so bad. A comedian did a whole hour of comedy just around Jaws 4, how bad it was.
yeah,
So, but it's that setting an expectation or selling an expectation and then giving people the complete reverse.
yeah. That's pretty common, though, isn't it?
It is. I'm
Talking
just
about
saying,
Jaws 4.
oh,
I saw an advertisement for the Meg the other day with Jason Statham.
oh,
I kind of used to like Jason Statham as an actor, but seeing this stupid advert for the Meg, the bloody shark coming up under the pier and him running up the pier, it's like, really?
well,
Are we still doing this stuff?
Jaws is not scary enough anymore for anyone. So what do you do?
No,
So
no.
you get a megalodon, and then after you make the first one, how do you make it any better or any scarier? Well, you get one that's 20 times bigger than the first one.
Bigger, right?
Just
Just keep
make it
making
bigger.
it bigger.
Yeah, just make it bigger and make it so it can swim at about 200 kilometers an hour. Yeah,
Yes.
and that it'll eat
Uh,
anything.
uh,
It'll eat boats, it eats wharves, it eats dinghies, you'd name it. It just eats everything.
have
And
they ever done a skit on that on The Simpsons
they
before?
should.
Or they should, right?
Yeah, they should.
What's the other show that you used to watch?
Family Guy.
Family Guy. Yeah, too funny.
But I mean,
Yeah, but I think it's that classic thing, and it's what we're talking about off here as well. More leaning into training and stuff, making those small changes. We expect too much too quickly. You've just got to
mm,
chip away at things. And I've
mm,
learned that lesson a few times. And I was just saying off here to you before about, having shoulder surgery. I thought, oh, how long is this going to take before I can get back in the gym? Literally recall just today, I was thinking about it, going back to the gym for the first time and laying on a bench and picking up an 8 pound or 8 kilo dumbbell just with one arm and just doing one arm dumbbells because I still was in a sling on the other side. And
mm.
then all of a sudden, I got a little bit stronger on one side, but I still could use my left arm. And then here I am 12 months later, I'm back to sort of full strength and going quite well. But it's making those small changes, isn't it? And that's the same with track. How many times did we see at our squad in Sydney, people turn up and all excited, turn up their brand new, $200 Nike spikes, all their gear, and they last the first session, not too bad. The second one, third one, they start sort of, I'm not sure about this, and the fourth one, they normally don't even turn up. Back to that expectation, right? Set way too high.
I get probably maybe 6 or 7 people like that a year.
Yeah.
And they're mainly guys. The girls are usually fairly conservative, but the guys are delusional. Just like we had a guy recently, because he came at the end of one of our sessions where we were running a continuous relay, and there was probably 18 bodies just sprawled across the track, because we ran this continuous relay for, God, it must have ran for 12 or 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and it only takes a minute for a baton to go around, even if you've got average runners.
Yeah.
So you're going to run 4 times in a minute, and then you sub out, and then after that next runner goes, you sub back in.
Yeah.
And we're running teams of that. And this guy, I think I might have told you, a 45-year-old man turns up, and he didn't look in great shape. But his first question was, "What are the records here?" And yeah, I think he went and checked because he never came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I've also started to learn as I've been getting older as an athlete, and I've been telling all my athletes as well, where you're going to get yourself into trouble in your preparation is if you start comparing yourself to others. I said you've got to stop doing that in your preparation, whether it's in the gym, on the track, anywhere. Just do your thing. Do what you can do and make your progression your own. You own your own progression. Do not look at, and this is where I really struggle because I've got a lot of quite competitive people, and if I put them in a rep together, they'll race each other.
Yeah.
So, and we had to teach them a lesson the other day. In a 250, I put 4 of them up against Parko and I, who's my 400-meter training partner. And they just asked the question. They all started. This one guy said his heart rate was 155 beats before he started because he was panicking. Because he asked me, he said, "What's the speed? What's the speed?" He was panicking. And I just looked at him. I just went, "It's fast."
Yeah.
And so Parko and I towed them all up just to teach them a lesson and have them all sprawled out on the track after absolutely running their guts out for 250. But the lesson is, it's not about me. It's not about him or this. It's just about you. It's an individual sport, but regardless of being an individual sport, everything you do around this has got to be about your progression. And don't compare just because that guy can bench 200 kilo and squat 200 kilo and then do a handstand. Who cares? He's going to end up in the hospital soon. So
all the Guinness Book records.
Whatever. But at the end of the day, you've got to do your stuff and do it right, do it properly, and you'll get to where you want to go. If you start comparing and watching too much YouTube, you'll just end up in a really unfortunate place. And I'm watching it all the time with people coming back to me and saying, "Oh, what about this guy? And what about that? And I saw this happen and I saw that." And I'm like, yes, that's all great, but that's not you.
Yeah.
That's not where you sit.
I think that's just part of the world we live in today, though, Rob, with social media. We've got so much access to information, and all we see on social media is all these superstar people that their life is amazing, right? They're doing all these amazing things. And people start getting all these grand ideas and then get, I suppose, massive disappointment when they don't get the success that they see on social media. But yeah, it's just part of the world we live in now, and how we manage it, I'm not too sure. I think everyone's part of a victim to it to a certain degree.
Well, they are, but like,
By frozen.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, cool. Go.
Yeah, no. All I was going to say is that it's just managing your own thoughts. That's the trick, and being aware when you're doing it.
Yeah, but that is difficult, right?
Yeah, it is hard. Oh no, it's hard, and you need tools to do that. I mean, there's there's two or three people that on any given week, if I run into all three of them, they trigger me something terrible. I've really got to, and one of them's only 10 years old. So, but he really does my head in when he's on the track, and he irritates me to no end. And he walks in my lane and he looks at me and he goes, "What have I done?" I'm just like, get out of the way. He's just irritating.
Yeah.
But it's not about him. It's about me. I've just got to learn to deal with that in a much better way. If you're getting triggered by a 10-year-old, seriously, that's ridiculous.
That's you maybe need to hold the mirror up, right?
Oh, and he's just a little clone of his parents, which are just as bad, which also irritates me even more, because you think you meet the parents and you think they'll go and discipline him, but they're actually encouraging him.
Yeah.
It's like Talladega Nights. Do you remember the Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell?
I do. I don't recall if I know the movie that well, but I remember the name of the movie.
They have a great little scene where they're all sitting down to dinner, and the kids they're just the worst kids you've ever faced of the earth, and Will Ferrell's just encouraging them just to be even worse, But anyway,
I think some parents are like that.
Oh, they are.
We were chatting about you last night at dinner. I just went and saw Anthony and his wife in Neutral Bay. And we walked in and sat down. What day was it? Oh, Wednesday night. And there was trivia on. It was trivia night. This is at Minsky's in Cremorne.
Oh, that's still going. I remember
it's still going. It's probably doesn't look like it used to. It's more of a, sports bar now.
Yeah.
And Anthony and Anna stay above it. So I just go and meet them there quickly last night to catch up with them. And I was chatting to them about the night we went to the DY Hotel with Andrew, and the trivia night was on.
Yep.
And we didn't participate. And I was telling Anthony that you virtually answered every question before everyone else in the room. I said, your general knowledge of movie stuff. I said, it was hilarious. And Andrew couldn't believe it. How does Chris know the answers to those questions? I said, he watches a lot of movies.
Yeah, that is true.
But, as I was saying off air before as well about this whole, I've got this sort of thing in my head at the moment about, micro building blocks. If you want to start anything and, don't focus on the end game, focus on the first step you can take. And I just made a little comment in something I wrote earlier about taking the stairs every day. Like, if you want to change your life, you want to change your health and fitness, if someone just took the stairs every day on their way to work and did it for a month, by the end of the month, they'll probably find they can actually walk up the stairs quite easily.
Oh, very much so.
But the first time they walk up those stairs, it's so hard, and they see the escalator beside the stairs and they say, I'm just taking the escalator again. Too hard.
Yep.
But if we're just prepared to persevere and take those little steps every day and just keep, like that Lego blocks, just keep building on top of them, it's pretty amazing what you can do. And I'm always, look at people's lives and think, God, how do they pack so much into their life in one lifetime? And they didn't start, as you said before, about, climbing mountains. You don't start at the top.
Nope.
You start at the bottom with one step, right?
Mm.
And you just got to, just take things one step at a time and put the pieces together. But it can be insurmountable initially when you look at these really big tasks. And that just applies to so many aspects of our life, I think.
Oh, yeah. And it's, as I said, it's, if you looked, having the end in mind is and I actually employ that strategy as having the end in mind. But you've got to, once you know that, you've actually really got to put that aside and then come back to where you are and then start making a plan just with those basic steps, knowing that they will progress. And eventually you'll get to where you want to go. But it's for a lot of people, they just get too overwhelmed. And that's why they either don't start or they start and they're still looking at the big picture and they'll stop because it's just too hard. That's why with people that are actually carrying a lot of weight, if someone's 185 kilo, which I had a guy recently, they weighed exactly that, he kept saying, I need to get down to 80. Now, to tell someone they're going to lose 105 kilos, it's inconceivable.
Yeah.
But rather than say you've just got to lose 1 kilo this week, that's not in his head. He's just saying I'm not 80, so he gave up.
Yeah.
He just gave
Yeah,
up.
it's interesting how the brain works that way, isn't it? But if he could reverse engineer that and figure out how he got to 180 kilos, like by eating one burger every day or, 10 cans of Coke every day, if you just reverse that out and sort of say, well, okay, this is what's the backwards strategy to that. I just got to take something out of my diet every day and move every day. But yeah, it is interesting just how we look at things. But that's why so many people look at this all the time. So many people in life and I'm very happy for them to do that. Sit in their space and want all these things in life and want change to occur, but it never does, right?
No.
And I was saying to Anthony last night as well that obviously every time you want to bring more into your life, normally something has to get pushed out.
Yeah.
You know,
So much can go
yeah,
in.
correct. And if that means you've got to give up Netflix, for twice a week instead of sitting down on TV because you want to start something or whatever you want to do, you want to actually learn a language or start something new. Something has to get pushed out. You don't have enough hours in the day. And that's, I think, the difficult thing for most people. They want all these things, but they're not prepared to push out something else and prioritize these things. And I've gone through it a lot, and I've actually had to analyze a lot recently and say, okay, what's really important to me right now, where I'm at today? What's really important? What things can I push out? Because these things now I actually want, so I've got to push some stuff out. And that's, to prioritize even my life around my health more, even though people would obviously find that strange because they look at probably us and say we've always been healthy, but to prioritise my sleep has been a big thing for me this year. And I just try and get to bed much earlier now. I just don't spend that 1 hour, winding down watching Netflix. I go and jump in bed now and read for half an hour and try and get that extra hour of sleep every night. And it's taken a while, but it's made a huge difference. God, I feel so much better doing it. Just find those, but something has to give all the time. It's challenging. Good. All right, we might make it a short one today. Just get a few things done. Well, good to chat, and I will see you at the next one. All right, cheers, mate.